Phil Harris and Josh Phegan come together in an incredible fortnightly podcast, Dream Big, Move Fast.
A progressive, contemporary conversation on what it takes to be a dynamic thinker, leader, and role model.
Backed with over 2 decades of friendship, trials and tribulations that teach from real-world experience and what it takes to dream big, move fast.
I'll let the racket do the talking. John McEnroe. Phil, as an ex-tennis pro, what are your thoughts about John McEnroe here when he's talking about the racket and how it's going to do the talking?
I don't know if this quote is actually true. He did a lot of talking, John McEnroe. He definitely was one of the all-time greats, but he was probably the best of both worlds. Racket did the talking. His mouth did a lot of talking as well, which was brilliant to watch.
And he did throw the racket
great.
Quite a bit too.
What a world-class entertainer. If you're not even a tennis fan, to watch that guy entertain, what a great guy.
What I think about this, like that whole idea is that literally the results are the things that really matter. You know, so don't talk a massive game if you're not doing them. And I think that's the biggest problem for a lot of people on Instagram is that it looks amazing, it looks all glitzy, but yet, like, you know, there's a lot of smoke for not much fire.
And he made a lot of noise, John, but is it just great to watch people who are just so passionate, just couldn't control himself. So what a legend.
Phil, this is an awesome episode because today we get to talk about the power of vision. And let's wind you back to 20 years ago. Did you ever imagine that it would be like this today? That Harris would be on the cusp of, it'll be a conversation of 4,500, maybe even 5,000 sales. You're not too far off. 5,000 properties under management. You're not too far off that in terms of growth. Like, did that vision ever enter your mind that would ever be the case? Like, when you were just struggling to be able to put on your first EA or trying to work out how to put on a sales guy inside of your team to see what it's actually grown to today? Did that vision ever come in?
No, definitely not. I think that the vision has progressed. Everything is relative to the season that you're in. So when you're in your first kind of year or two of real estate, for me, as you know, Josh, that was about survival mode.
Yeah.
I sold one house in my first 6 months. So it was a matter of am I actually going to be in real estate this time next year? So that was probably the vision at that time. But one thing I have learned along the line, Josh, is as you progress and I'm definitely big on vision these days, on short-term and long-term vision. Sometimes you get momentum and you actually get to readjust and set bigger vision because things change, So, it definitely wasn't the plan at the start, but now we've got, new ideas.
So, Phil, who sets the vision for you and your life?
Vision for me, I think I have an inner circle of people around me, a very select group of people, you being one of them, Josh, of an inner kind of circle mastermind. My brother plays a large role in that. People like Con, as you know. So that would say these would be people that I would interact with on, daily, weekly basis around that little internal vision. But then I have external mentors of people that you just admire on a global level where you can kind of be, these days, the power of podcasting and books and courses that you can access. So I kind of have an inner circle of people that really help me drive that, and then I've got an external people that I just greatly admire that I don't know them on a personal level, but they play a massive influence over the vision that I set for my life.
The interesting conversation is that literally vision is in all different areas, right? And no doubt sitting down with your lovely wife, Jennifer, you guys get to set a vision of what you want to go to create together and what sort of a thing you want to set for your, for your children, for your boys and for your girl. And that's a really important part. But I often say to people is that sometimes you just make it way too hard on yourself. And what you're much better to do is to set some lifetime goals that are absolutely important to you. So for example, would you like to own a house? Would you like to own an investment property? Would you like to have $1 million in superannuation when you get to retire? Would you like to be in a position that you'd like to have a partner? Do you want to have some kids? Do you want to be in a position that you get to travel overseas? Do you want to be fit? Do you want to be able to pull yourself out of a car at 70? And I think that most people would probably agree with a lot of those things, that they would have an answer for most of those. And it's okay. Not having kids is an okay thing, and having kids is also a great thing. It just depends on what stage of life you're at and what the things are that you want to go and chase. The problem here is that literally it's the paradox of choice, isn't it? Because there's so many different things that you could do. People actually get paralyzed and don't make any choices. And that's that whole thing, I think, that eat, pray, love moment that, Phil, just do what you love and you will know. And it's somehow you're going to be in aisle 19 at Coles at 9:30 p.m. on a Friday night. It's going to come to you that you love this. That's never been the case, has it? Tell us a little bit about how you get to a point where you start to get confident about setting vision. Is that about, setting a little goal, achieving that little goal, building that confidence, learning to set a slightly bigger goal again and going again, and then finding out that you've got a system for it. And once you start to build confidence, you can build systems to get goals, then you then start to find a way to go and do it. And then one day you hook on to a mentor, and is that how it actually starts to happen if you really think about the formative years in getting that confidence to set the vision? Because you can come out and go, I want to write $2 million, but yet if you're rude to the waitress, or you're in a position that you can't even interact with a human being, or you won't pick up a phone, that you're not going to get any closer to it. So first of all, learn to make a great call. Second of all, learn how to book an appointment. Third of all, get the buyer to make an offer. Just really break it down into little wins that help you to build confidence for the big wins. Is that how you'd start to build that confidence to set the vision?
Yeah, definitely. I think that it's really important that, first and foremost is you've got to firstly get to a place, Josh, where you actually believe that goal setting and vision is something that you actually want to make an important part of your life. But I'd say this, that, whatever the saying is, without a vision, the people perish, right? So if you haven't got I know in my own personal life, Josh, if I haven't got something inspiring that I'm getting after, I definitely feel kind of non-attached. But I guess you and I have been doing this for probably close to 20 years of being pretty serious about goal setting. And I'd say that goal setting and vision has probably evolved a little bit more over the years in terms of what it first was. But yeah, I do. I think I start small. So there's small goals that I'm trying to achieve on a daily, weekly basis. But then I'm definitely pushing things out for 10, 20 years time of where I want to be. But then also kind of the other big tip that I would say is you do need to surround yourself with at least one or two other people that have the same mindset about goals that you actually share with, right? And I know you've always got your goals on your phone. I have a great relationship with my brother, and we actually, every year, we do our own personal planning year calendar. We map out our goals based on faith, fitness, family, friendship, finance, basically 3 to 5 annual goals, 3 to 5 long-term goals in each of those categories. We map up what we call our life plans, and then we just exchange them with each other. And then occasionally we'll just kind of check in with each other and say, how are you going with those things? It's not overly complicated. Yeah,
this is the most amazing part about it though, right? Is that the other day I was cleaning up some stuff at home, and I actually found the vision book that I created in 2006 when Apple was actually producing books.
That was the craze, the vision books. But
and so what you could do is you could drag and drop images, and then you could write some text underneath it. Man, geez, my assistant looked so good in that photo. It was fascinating. Because mate, that's what I had the vision of. I'll have someone who's going to come and join my team, and I'm going to write X amount of fees, and I'm going to do this. And man, it was actually really, really empowering because every single thing that was in the book had been achieved, which is the most amazing part. But there's a day where you realize that it doesn't matter about what someone else wants for you. What really matters is what you actually want for yourself. Now, Phil, we've heard that others have done it. It's been a big thing. I've done it for quite a long period of time about having Think Week. And that's that basic idea that you actually go away, you have a couple of days out from the world, and literally you just think about, different things, and you read a bit, and you start to really have some conversations with yourself about what's absolutely important. I would really, really encourage people to go and do that. There's a lot of people that can't get, time on their own, but it's a great time to go and get some time away. And I think that this is important because you've got to be in an environment that's going to really encourage you for creative thinking. How important is it for people to actually, to spend some time to get, just with themselves, to get crystal clear about, what they actually really want, and maybe things that are maybe not right that they need to go and address and get right?
Yeah, I think it's vitally important. And obviously, I think it was that documentary with Bill Gates, I think, put that on the map with his Read Week or Think Week or whatever it was. He has a little cabin somewhere. He charters in a little plane there and reads 10, 15 books in a short period of time. But I do my kind of Think Week a little bit in a different way, Josh. There are certain times of the year. I still regularly, Josh, not just Think Week, but I'll do little study lockaways where maybe a few times per year, I'll even hotel room here in Adelaide, and I'll just lock 2 days away by myself, get a pass out from my wife to actually go and just do so. There's a couple of online courses I need to get done. I've got to get that book read, and you just need to think and do that. So it's hard for me to do that now with 3 kids, a whole Think Week. But what I have got in my annual program is, that I go overseas and I study every year just after Christmas. And I find travel now is a great outlet for that. So when I'm sitting on a plane for 15 hours flying to the west coast of the US, travel is a great time for me while I do spend a lot of time locking in, reviewing my goals. What am I thinking about? Family plan. And then some other rhythms. We speak about salespeople with meeting rhythms, like the annual calendar that I have for my wife and I. We have an annual planning day every year, I should say, post-Christmas. So before I go away to the US every year, it's actually when I get back, we do a family goal set. We look at each other's goals. We go through those categories, 1 year, 5 year, 10 years. I know what her goals are. She knows what mine are. We set those for the family, and that's one little reset point. And then I have another session that I do with my brother that I spoke about. I'm just kind of retweaking those and then re-exchanging on those as well. So I use that travel time to really kind of get myself clear on where I want to go. The wife and I, we get together once a year for annual planning day. Then on top of that, as you know, Josh, we have a monthly meeting, which is only for 1 hour on a Friday. I think it's the last Friday of every month. And part of that agenda we go through, we just look at family goals and personal goals. And then we got like general house stuff, upcoming holidays, financials. It's just a really quick kind of catch up. But that's kind of the rhythm that helps with that process. I wish I could get a week out, but my wife's not going to give me that pass out.
Although she did have a week off, I saw recently. Yeah, the interesting one, Phil, here is this is amazing, is about the power of technology, right? So we've been playing a little bit around with AI and Claude has been our model of choice. And it's been an interesting conversation, but one of the things that I did is I actually went into Claude and I literally said, okay, great. Here are all of my goals. Imagine you're the most incredible psychologist and mentor in the world. Tell me, what are your thoughts? What's the good stuff? And where are the red flags? And so literally it just went, and it came up and it said, hey, these are all of the really good things. And then here are 1 or 2 things you might need to pay attention to. And it was fascinating because like it said, you may have achievement over attachment. I'm like, what is that? And that might be that you have to do 208 events and 100 flights or whatever. Are you less successful if you only do 5 events and 2 flights? Or are you still a really good quality human being? I'm like, oh, that's a good series of questions. So it said, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to develop this little exercise of like 10 little questions for you to answer every day, and we want to go and do it. So, okay, great. So I've fed these 10 questions in, and so I've been doing it over the course of the last 120 days. And so I ask you really simple things like, how do you want to be today in your successful moments? How do you want to be today in challenging moments? How do you want to be today in creative moments? How do you want to be in your relationships? How do you want to be at home? How do you want to be in your business life? So I ask you those questions. And then, I'd ask you, who are some really good mentors? Who are some great friends that are non-business related? So it starts to, really get that stuff out of you. And so I took the model and then I pushed it a bit further and I said, okay, great. Here's a list of all my goals. And now what I want you to do is I want you every day to ask me how I'm making progress on one of my goals. And so it came up the other week and it goes, because I've got properties in as headlines and, with some of my properties, what I want to do for maintenance and whatever. And it said, how are you going on painting the picket fence on your investment property in Albury? And I lied to the AI. I said to them, oh, look, it's just been a busy period. My property manager's away. She'll be back in the next month or so. She's on holidays. And the AI came back and said, you're amazing to allow people to actually have time out from the world. That's such an important part of being able to be respectful of people's time. However, this is an important goal. We're going to check in at the end of the month and see whether or not you've done it. And I was like blown away. This is fascinating. So now what I've then also got is I've also then got all of my affirmations in that AI model. And so then every day it goes through those key questions. It not only asks me about one of my goals, but also then gives me an affirmation that I'm used to, that literally is something that, inspires me or motivates me to energize. Man, this is insane. And what it started to get me to realize is that, for so many people that have lost connection or lost touch with their goals or lost touch with their affirmations or lost touch with the key principles of what they actually want in their life, there are now phenomenal tools that are literally at your fingertips that you can spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes a day just to reconnect with, that are going to allow you to be really, really powerful in terms of your approach. And I just think this is about you. Decide what's big for you for your current era. And this is important for the life stages. And often you see a lot of people kind of get themselves in trouble because they don't really realize the stage of the life that they're in. So, you're single or you're getting a partner. Now you've got kids. Now the kids are growing up. Now the kids have left home. Now it's you and your partner again. But at each of those different stages will come different challenges and different opportunities. And you've got to really live the era that you're in. And so, hats off to you and Jen. You both want to be great parents. And so you really focus a lot on what it takes to be a great parent. But also too, you want to be amazing inside of your business life. And so there's a very clear focus on doing that. And Jen wants to be incredible around her social life and the relationships that she's got into that she's building for the future. That stuff is so important. How important is it for people just to get in this position that they decide what the big rocks are and get those right first?
I think it's absolutely critical. But what I would say is that maybe the shift is there's, material goals of wanting a house or a holiday or a business. I'd say if I was kind of restarting again, Josh, if I was going back to the start, I think I'd be more focused on the quality of the character of the person that I wanted to become over a long period of time. Mm-hmm. If you can get clarity over that first, all of the other stuff can kind of come. But who's the person that you want to be in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, 30 years' time? I'd probably sit down and I'd have more of a focus on that and because all of the other goals, it's pretty hard to control whether or not you're going to own that house or have that business or have that like wealth. Like kind of, you can do your best, but some of that's out of your control. But you do have total control over the character of the person you are becoming. And I think if that becomes your kind of initial base camp, which is I'm really focused on the person that I'm becoming first. What does that person look like? What do they value? What does their health look like? What do their relationships look like? What's the impact I'm having with husband, wife, kids, whatever that might be? I would start there and then don't overcomplicate it. Start looking at what are the basic areas of your life around those kind of big five that I spoke about and start documenting those and surrounding yourself with people that want to help you to actually get there.
Principle, the bigger the dream, the more important the team. Phil, what are your thoughts about this as an incredible principle to start to get you to think about building a team to go and win at business and at life?
Yeah, nothing is more important. I mean, they say the top 5 people in your life. I would say for me, it's probably the top 2 or 3 people that you surround yourself with. Get yourself a team that is pro you, and that's going to have a massive impact.
Quick question on that. On the pro tennis circuit, if you're like, top 5 tennis player in the world, how many people in your team do you reckon?
I'd say they're probably traveling with close to a team of 5.
Yeah, and that's like literally the psychologist, the physiologist, the actual trainer, the person that's doing mindset
coach, PT, psych,
manager,
chiropractor, manager. Yeah, it might be maybe slightly bigger than that. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think that's a really important foundational piece is to realize that's what we're talking about. Is that the bigger the dream, the more important the team. Who are the people that are on your team in life to actually assist you to really get progress and to get you to change the way you think?
Feeling good and ready for more? Thanks for joining us
On Dream Big,
Move Fast.